have to strike that balance, but at the same time, not disappearing, and realizing that they don't know what to do. So, I mean, for me, what I saw there was speaking to me, and what I need to work on is, if you say you're going to do something for your coaches, do it. That whole trust thing, and they were talking about trust in the beginning there. I think that is something that's really important. So it's not just like, oh, well, this flaky girl, got me this discount, but now I don't know what to do with it, kind of thing. I don't know. Anyway, that's what stood out to me, was just, if you say you're going to do something, then do it. He says in here, people will tolerate honest mistakes, but if you violate trust, you'll find it very difficult to ever regain their confidence. And I think that's super duper important. And you may not even do it on purpose. Like for me, most of you who know me know that I'm coming back from having a really rough pregnancy and kind of a rough first few months with my fourth baby. And so I am doing that right now in the trenches, rebuilding that confidence and that trust. It wasn't anything I did on purpose, but it's hard, like you don't want to get to that place where people don't know if they can trust that you're going to show up, Anyway, that was my big from the beginning, what I kind of got from it.
Yeah. So I agree. So I really liked how it talked about that the most important is trust. And trust is the foundation of leadership. And one thing that really stood out to me was in the 3 vital behaviors, we are supposed to be proof that the products work. And when we're not proof that the products work, we lose the trust of people around us. We can make it work for a little while, but if we're sitting there, we're gaining weight when we're not trying to, and we're not eating healthy, we're not doing the workouts, but we're trying to get people to do what we're, to be coaches as well. They're not going to trust us because we're not proof of the product. We're not doing what we're supposed to be doing. And that's one thing that really stood out to me was it's a trust thing. That's the 3 vital behaviors. If we're doing those, people can trust us. If we're not, we're losing the trust of people around us. All right, who else wants to talk? I'm not talking the whole time, you guys. I just set this up.
You have this is Jillian. I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm driving, so you're looking at my ceiling right now. But I was actually just thinking that was a really good point about being proof the product works, but it's also, you can apply that to personal development, because I think that personal development is obviously something to grow us with our hearts and our minds and all that, but we also I read personal development so that I have something to share with my team, so that I have something inspiring to say, or so that like when I have an aha moment personally with what I'm reading or listening to, I can go back and share that with my team. And I think that's another form of gaining trust, because it shows them like I'm not blowing off personal development. It's important to me and it's important to my business, and you guys can gain value from that as well. So that kind of goes into the 2 vital behaviors that really are about us.
Exactly. There were some questions. So at the very back, there are some questions in here, and I thought it was really good actually for us to go through, just kind of an answer for ourselves. Sorry. Okay, so you kind of grade yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. On 1 is you're weak in that area, and 10 you're really strong. And it talks about the different character areas like commitment, courage, honesty, perseverance, preparedness, respect, responsibility, self-discipline. And I thought those would be really good for us to actually kind of go through and evaluate ourselves, where we're at with teachability. I know when I was in the very beginning with Brigitte, I probably drove her nuts, you guys, as one of her coaches, because I flunked out of the Coach Academy that she did like twice. And I just wasn't, I look back at some of my posts that I did as a new coach, and I was horrible. I was posting pictures of P90X, that it was on sale and how much it was, and I'm just thinking, wow, hopefully I've progressed, and hopefully that's what personal development has done for me. But those are good areas for us to evaluate ourselves in. So who here has, I guess, some areas of when you guys are starting out your new coaches? You guys have like a set thing of things that you do for your new coaches?
One thing that's been helpful for my new is instead of like getting on like the phone with them, so I can like screen share and show them things. Like I talk about their why and things like that, but I feel like they're just like filled with questions and don't know what to do. And I feel like showing them around and showing them a few things that are important for them to know now has been helpful to kind of build their confidence a little bit.
Okay. Who else has some stuff that they do with new coaches?
I stole Keisha's stuff that she put in, and it is working really, really well for my, 4 or 5 new coaches that I added over the last couple months. Super duper simple, just, like crazy simple, not trying to overthink it. And then we're also using the new Coach Basics with day 1 coaches, and it's phenomenal. I don't know if anybody else has looked it over or is using it, but it's really good stuff. It's very simple. It gives them specific things to do. It's completely different. It's not like they revamped the old one. They literally threw the old one out and wrote a new one. As far as I'm concerned, it's brand new training. So I definitely recommend taking a look at it, because I have coaches going through right now, and we have 3 coaches who really engaged in it of the 7 that were in there, and their posts, they look like veteran coaches, like just the way that it's helping them share their stories and stuff. Like, good stuff. Like, we're really, really liking it. And then something I'm doing today, GSRs are where I struggle. I don't know if anybody else has a problem with that, but like I'm a pretty like nuts and bolts kind of person. So I feel like I need to go over all those nuts and bolts that are in the business quick start guide. And so you end up, like droning on and on about Success Club and all that, and then you tried it. So then I tried to, anyway, so what I'm gonna do is make a video, I don't know if anybody does this, that goes over like a 10-minute video that just goes over the nuts and bolts side of the GSR, and have them watch that right before you get on the phone with them, so you can answer questions like right away on the phone that confuse them or whatnot. And that way in a video, I feel like I can be more clear and concise, and I won't, be rambling at them. And then we just focus on getting to know each other. Like, I'm going to change it to a getting to know you call, I think, like where I can get to know them and we can build a relationship, like through that one National Wake Up Call, really building a relationship with each of the many coaches. Anyway, that's where my brain is right now. I feel like that would, I don't know if anybody else has anything earth shattering that they do that works.
No, I like that. I need to check out that new Coach Basics. I haven't looked at it yet, but I've heard it's super simplified and awesome.
It's great. It's great. Like, each day I go through and I keep thinking I'm gonna tweak it or like change it, and I don't. Like,
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really, really good. And I think it's one of those things that people can kind of day 1. Like, you can sign up today and go into that training, and it just kind of like spoon feeds you in, which I really, really like. So it's working for us so far. So
yeah, I like that.
I've
been doing the I can't remember which call I got it from, but where she put, so it's a 15-day, and it's like Keisha's, kind of a mix of Keisha's and the Coach Basics, but all the posts are hidden, so they're all in the files, and then they can just do it at their own pace, but not so it's like a jumbled mess in there, but so that they go to the files and they do day 1, and then they send you that assignment, and day 2, I can't remember which call I got it from, but anyway, I just started doing it, so I don't have a lot of, I don't know how well it works, but kind of like those rock star coaches can go super fast, and then the other coaches can kind of go at their own pace, and it's up to them,
That's what I've done as well. I've done the same thing where we just have a group that as soon as they sign up to coach, we put them in, and it's all in the files. So they have like day 1 through day 15 just files, and then they can go at their own pace, their own speed. If they want to go through everything within, a 3-day period, they can. If they want to take a month, they can do that as well. So I'm going to check out the new ones, though. I've heard that it was good, but it just makes me so worried. I'm like, I don't know how good it is. So it's good to hear that other people like it.
I have my Coach University and a group that has a work at your own pace as well, and it's like the old one, It's the old one that is, that from Brigida.
Right.
It's starting to finally work because my team is growing slower. So it was just weird, to do a coach basics every month if it just wasn't working for me. So I did that, and it's fun to see my coaches now that finished it. I kind of have it set and just say like, your coach will escort you through. So do the work in the files tab, like comment on the file, do the work so that we all know where you're at. And it's fun to see it starting to recycle, and now the new coaches are starting to add people that are actually doing the work.
That is nice to see.
Yeah. I also have I just kind of pull different pieces together from like Keisha's new coach letter, and I put in there at the end, I'm like, some of my favorite videos, like the Shay Stanford video, I'm like, extra bonus for your business to understand Shakeology. So I have that video in there to do. And then I think I did the video from Miguel. Did everybody see that video from Miguel? It was like to go diamond in 7 days or 10 days or whatever. That video is so inspiring. So I have those 2 videos in there as like bonus work to do. And I don't know. I just started using that, but I can share that, how I have that in the group if anybody wants to see.
That would be nice. I like Miguel's videos that he does too. I think he's a fun one to follow.
Yes, and he's so different than me. Like, I mean, I could never provide that kind of like, sign up, get 2 people in the first hour of your business kind of.
Yeah.
He's so different than me, so it's fun to have someone else sort of have that video and have someone else doing that.
Yeah.
I agree. That was such a good video, especially when he was talking about like success loves speed, because it's so true. Like the faster you can go and get recognized, like the bigger, it's just totally true. I love that video.
Well, it's kind of like, I actually was on the phone with this girl today who's really struggling with, she's struggling with weight loss because if she's not seeing results right away, like she's a binge eater, or like, not a binge eater, but she's like a food person. Like if she eats food all the time, like, what is it called? A food addict. Like I relate to that. I really relate to it. And so I talked with her about, actually like seeing goals right away, and which is why I was suggesting the 3-day refresh and the 21-day fix. I'm like, when you see those things happen right away, it keeps the momentum going. Like you're excited to keep going. You dropped 5 pounds. You want to keep it going. And so that's the same with coaches too. When they see success right away, it's easier to go, oh my gosh, okay, I hit Success Club my first month as a coach. I'm going to do it again. And it's so much easier for them to keep going.
I was just looking over like the discuss questions in this thing, and it's kind of about, how will an effective leader be if he has lost trust and things like that. And I guess like when I'm looking through there, it's kind of hard to relate it to exactly what we do,
Right.
a little bit directly. But if we think about it as far as, like getting new coaches started, I think one of the biggest things is to get them to trust us enough to talk to us about what's hard and what's easy and what's holding them back, and being able to see what's holding them back. Like I was talking to my newest coach who is doing amazing. Like she's had a great fitness journey, and we connect really well as me being her coach and her being a challenger and whatnot. And so like she's doing phenomenal there. She trusts me enough to share with me there. And now we're able to build that relationship as far as, coach and mentor, like where she can say to me, like, I guess I really haven't asked anybody point blank if they want to do it, you know, and through conversations, her trusting me enough to like be open about that. Like, okay, well, I haven't done that. I haven't made my list of 100 people. I haven't reached out to my family. You know, like, I guess that's kind of, that just came to me, is doing things, I don't know what the answer is here, in the first like 48 hours that lays that trust so that they'll level with us and they'll share with us, and not making yourself up here on a pillar, you know, or pedestal, or whatever, a pedestal, you know, where they don't feel like they can be open with you about the little things that they're struggling with, right? I mean, I don't know. And I think it goes back to kind of what Julian was saying, like, you have to do the 3 vitals too. You have to show them that we are constantly down in the trenches with them, doing the same thing, building a business, doing reach outs, sending invites, you know. And so I don't know, that's kind of what I'm thinking as far as getting them to trust, is, you know, being an example. And I don't know.
That, and I think along with being vulnerable to our coaches and letting them know, like, when we have months that we struggle. I know when I was 1-star qualifying after Summit last year, when it was still in Vegas, I was 1-star qualifying at the time, and I didn't hit Success Club that month, and it sucked. I was so mad. I had so many people, you know, I mean, I think I had gotten a little overconfident. I had so many people that were like, oh yeah, I'm going to purchase, like 10 people backed out on me. And I ended at Success Club for that month, and it sucked. And I talked with my coaches about, you know, this is the reality, and this is what happened, and this is why I didn't hit it. And being able to talk to them and say, you know, it was my fault. It was my fault that I didn't, you know. And so since then, I've made a goal to like hit it early every single month. This month, again, it was really tough for me. I think as of last Thursday, I was on my team call telling everyone, like, I was at Success Club 1 last Thursday. It's like less than a week to go in the month, and I was at Success Club 1. And so I told them, I said, here's what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to do, because Success Club's non-negotiable for me. And so here's what I'm going to do to hit it. And I want you guys to see that you can be at Success Club 1 and have less than a month left to go, or I mean less than a week left to go, and you can still pull it out. Like, you can still do it. And I did. I managed it. But just for them knowing that I had a month where I just struggled too, like, it was a tough month for me, I think it makes it easier for them to know that they can come and talk to me, rather than me being like, well, I'm at Success Club 20 and it's only day 2 in the month. You know, I mean, it makes it more, it's harder to be relatable to my coaches and to my team.
I totally agree. And I think, like, I used to sugarcoat for my new coaches how easy it was going to be. And lately I've not been doing that. I've been just being more real, like, about how much time and consistency it takes to build this business. And it's not going to be an overnight thing. And just letting them know that up front, so that they're not disappointed when they're not getting $1,000 checks per week, you know, 3 months in. And they might hit Success Club the first month and second month, and then it might get harder if they're not building their network and reaching out. And it just being really real and open, and whatever questions they have, and just answering them honestly, and what happened with me and what I dealt with. And, you know, just instead of making it sound like all roses, because I just want them to sign up, but just letting them know, like, that it's hard. It's a hard business, but if you stick with it, it for sure pays off.
Yeah. So what do you guys think is the quickest way for us to lose trust, either with our team or with our challengers?
I think to fall off the face of the planet is rough. Like, if you just, like,
Disappear.
you know, their moments. And I think that, like we're talking about, you know, in the business, if we don't hit Success Club right away, or, you know, but in our personal lives as well, I think that it's really important to be sharing that with your coaches. Like, hey, I'm struggling right now. I'm sorry, but I'm still here. I'm showing up. I'm here for you guys. So when they go through something that's difficult in their lives, they're like, okay, well, like, I still need to show up for my challengers and my coaches. I think that's, you know, builds trust. And then it also loses, like, if you don't do that, you're going to lose trust real quickly. It's like, oh, well, you know, my coach just, you know, said sayonara for a week or two because she went through something rough. And I mean, everybody goes through hard times, whether it's like, you know, something that's really obvious to the public or not. And, you know, that's a non-negotiable to me. Like, you posting your challenge groups, you still have to. So that's just my 2 cents.
No, I agree. So I know most of Team Forward Fitness did the same track at Summit. I actually did the other track because there were coaches on there that I wanted to hear from. Tracy Morrow was one of them, and she actually talked about that, about this is our business and we're the CEO and we show up no matter what. And she talks about the struggles that she's been going through. Did you guys know she had cancer, like breast cancer, and a daughter with an eating disorder? And I think it was her husband's parents both moved in with them and both ended up passing away. And then something happened to their dog. I think their dog died, like it got cancer and died or something. Like, she had so many things going on this last year, and she still showed up. And her husband still works, you guys. He's, out of all the founding coaches, he's the only one who still has a spouse that works. He doesn't want to quit his job. He's, you know, so she talks about, like, she's the one managing the house and managing the kids and taking care of her husband's parents that were dying and everything, and building a business and dealing with a daughter with an eating disorder and going through her own stuff as well. And she still showed up every single day. And I was so inspired by her. That was probably my favorite part of Summit, was listening to her, because if she can do it with all the crap that she was going through. She talked about sitting outside of her daughter's door, her bedroom door, like just bawling, and then having to put cold washcloths on her face before she went and made a call, like did a team call, just so that they couldn't see that she was bawling right before. Like, it was just so inspiring listening to her and how much she showed up, even though she didn't want to, even though it was rough, she did it anyway.
That's amazing. I had no idea all that stuff happened.
Oh, I know. Yeah. It was, that really was.
She's so positive. Like, she's probably the most positive person I've ever seen. Even on the videos, she's always smiling in all of the hard workouts.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Anita has said that before on calls too, where she's literally been throwing up all day, had the flu, and her daughter has the flu, and her husband has the flu, and she's been lying on the floor, like trying to squint enough to post in her groups, like, but her head hurts so bad, like she can't open her eyes. And her husband's like, "What are you doing?" And she's like, I have to post. Like, I have to show my challengers that I'm there for them, even when I'm on the floor, like, sick. And it's just, she's a top coach. She could probably call someone else and say, "Hey, go post in my group," but she shows up.
So how do you guys, like, besides like being an example on the same lines, how do you guys show your coaches or help them see that, you know, you have to show up even when it gets hard? Like, do you guys have anything that's helping you with your coaches?
Well, all of my coaches actually that were at Summit, we all went and listened to Tracy Morrow together, and that was nice for them to be able to hear her story. But we've talked about it on our team call a lot. Like, that is something that we push on the team call.
Like, how do you come across and not making them, like, feel bad that they're giving in their excuses, but at the same time making them see that it's kind of like a no matter what thing? Like, I feel like there's a fine line there.
Part of me wants them to feel bad if they're, you know, like, really, you have those. And I think they need to realize that all these things that they're saying, like, "Oh, I have to do this, I have to do this, and, you know, I'm doing this," I'm like, those are just excuses. And sometimes they need to be called out on that. And I think it's our job sometimes as coaches, and it is a fine line, to realize, like, okay, when is it that we need to call them out, and when do we need to just kind of pull back and, you know, and not make them go off the deep end. That is kind of a fine line.
I think it comes down to the people who are asking for help, you know, like, because most people know what, like, I have a few coaches who don't care to push that hard. Does that make sense? Like, when things get tough, they want to be able to pull back. And so what I've tried to teach, what I've tried to do, you know, like when I got sick and stuff like that, was to at least, like you said, have somebody else pinch hit for me, make sure that they have a point person, you know what I mean? Like letting them know that it is never okay for them to disappear on their challenge groups, no matter how sick they are. And if they feel like they're that sick, they need to ask another coach in our team, to be that person. But I think the people that you can call out are the people who are like, why isn't this working for me? Why isn't my business growing? Why isn't this happening? And then you can say, well, what could you be doing? Oh, well, this happened in my life. Okay, well, I'm really sorry that happened in your life, but it doesn't change the fact that it was stopping you from doing these things that would have moved you forward. It's that whole, you can have excuses, you can have results, and have both kind of thing. And I think, so that's where I would find the line. It's like brand new day one coaches, you're probably not going to stand there and be like, all right, so when you're throwing up, you still have to be in your groups. You know what I mean? Like we can't be Chris Farley and the motivational speaker guy. So day one coaches. But if you have coaches who have told you, this is what I want. There was somebody was talking at Summit, and they were talking about things that they do in their GSRs are to say, okay, so what, like in the GSR, in that very first call, what do you want to get out of this? Oh, well, I want to make $2,000 let me like, and let me show you what that will take, so that they can see that. So it's not just this like pie in the sky dream, like, and then they'll know from day one what that's going to take. And then they'll be like, oh, okay, well, maybe I can't do that right away. Maybe we can shoot for $500 a week. Okay, great. You still have to show up every day, but it's going to look like this, so being upfront with them from the beginning and knowing your audience, knowing who you're talking to, like I have that, my emeralds and stuff, I can say, hey, look, you haven't posted all week. You know what I mean? Like your challengers don't know where you are, so they're not sending you referrals. And I think, I don't know, for me, that's what makes sense in my head. It just depends on who you're talking to and what they want to get out of it.
That's true.
Always putting it back on that. What are you trying to get out of this? Well, then you've got to do X, Y, Z, and A, B, C, D, E, if
Yeah.
Well, and also I think if you're sharing your own struggles, like this is what's going on in my life and this is how hard it is, but this is what I did to make it happen today. I mean, a lot of us have been pregnant and really sick doing this, and it sucks, and we just get it done. So sometimes I think sharing that with our coaches, like, whatever. I'm sorry, I have like kid problems. Hold on.
Okay, we haven't heard from some others too. Who wants to go that we haven't heard from?
I can say something. Sorry, we've been kind of noisy on this end, but I have to just say that for me, I know that my biggest problem is probably sugarcoating how much work I do, because I've been afraid to scare my coaches. Like I've been afraid that they won't sign up, but then I realized like, I don't want to recruit coaches that don't want to work. And so stop sugarcoating it, because I work like a dog. You know what I mean? Like, no, I can't work 8 hours a day, but I am willing to stay up late and lose some sleep and all that stuff. And so I'm like, I don't need to necessarily give them all the nitty gritty details, but stop saying that it's only 1 hour a day. And so that's where I've realized I can't complain when my coaches aren't achieving what they want to, because I told them they'd be able to do it in a lot less time than they really can. So that's, and then the other thing for me is just sharing with my coaches more. I'm pretty open on Facebook with just who I am, but I don't tell my coaches. So I finally just said, guys, this really is just about showing up every day, even when ABC, like all these things, and letting people know that I have been sitting on my kitchen floor crying because my husband's been gone for 3 months and I'm tired and I don't want to do this. And so I suck it up and say, it's going to be hard either way. This is just what it is, and it could be so much harder. And so just letting people understand that it doesn't happen easy for me, that I just am consistently showing up every single day. That's all.
Thanks, Megan. Sydney, how about you? We haven't heard from you.
Hi, I feel a bit underprepared. I just got back into town yesterday. I don't have the workbook. I just kind of was like, okay, Becky, I'll get on the call. But I've really enjoyed the different thoughts that have been shared. I did a GSR call with one of my newer coaches right before we left, and we ended up talking for like 2.5 hours, just like nonstop. And it was like the best call ever. She finally had like all these breakthroughs and her why, and we set some really concrete goals. And it got me really excited to kind of step up and be the leader that she needs to have. And so that kind of, I mean, I'm still pretty new. I still don't have any idea what I'm doing. I'm just kind of following my leaders, but it kind of made me realize to take the time for them, to carve out the time during your day to get on the phone with them or to get on a live chat with them and like do a screen share, show them around. Like that was really important for me, and it was more important for my coach. So as a leader for me, it's showing up every day. It's trying as hard as you can, but it's also just kind of making time for them. There's a lot of things that go through my head every day. I'm really bad about having just 3 tabs open. It's usually around 13 different tabs open of what I could do, what I should do, what I need to do, what I want to do. And so kind of narrowing that down and having this time where I get things done that I need to do to progress my business, and then setting aside that time to dedicate to them, to help them know what to do and how to progress their business is almost more important than other things. And Brigida has said a lot, don't put your coaches before yourself. You have to be going through the motions and progressing your own business before you can show them how to progress theirs. But it's equally as important. I mean, we cannot be successful in this business without our coaches, without them progressing, and they're very important. And so for me, it was make the time for them and answer the questions, not right away, but give them the resources and really take time to know them and know their struggles and help in any way that you can.
Yeah. Thank you. Sarah, we haven't heard from you.
Okay. Okay, so I'm kind of new to all this. I'm just kind of learning and starting out with leading my team. So I'll explain kind of what happened. Like, I also just had my 4th baby, and I was a diamond before I got pregnant. And then a week later, my only 2 coaches who were coaching quit. They both just completely canceled their accounts. And all of my other people were just discount coaches at that time. And the pregnancy was really hard on me. I fell into a really bad depression, and I basically quit too. I was only like maybe once a week posting, like my challenge groups. I wasn't there for them. And so like when the baby was a couple months old, I started to rebuild. And so this chapter was actually really good for me because it's all about trust, and I feel like I'm still trying to really regain all my followers and challengers and everybody's trust back. And I highlighted these 2 lines that kind of go together. One was, you can't get too much done in life if you only work on the days when you feel good. So that's what I was doing. Like, I was just like, oh, I'm too tired today to work, so I'm just not going to work at all. And then the other one was, by making sound decisions, by admitting their mistakes, and by putting what's best for their followers and the organization ahead of their personal agendas, is how you earn trust and respect. So I just have to, I'm starting to be consistent again, and I'm getting back into my routine of things, and I just have to be consistent and own my mistakes and be honest with people. And I think that, I can start to see progress again that way. So.
Nice. Thank you.
Let me mute myself.
We lost.
Yeah, get it, lady. How old is your little guy? He's so cute.
He is going to be 7 months and 1 week.
Nice. Heidi, have we heard from you yet?
Hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Okay.
No, I haven't said much either. You know, from everything I'm loving this call and I'm learning a ton, but from everything that's been said, the thing that really stuck out to me is that there was a point in time when I was working like a dog, like Megan said, working 7-8 hours a day and just spending all my time, spare time, working this, trying to make it grow as fast as I possibly could. And there's nothing wrong with that, I guess, but at the time I was having some weekly calls with Brigida trying to help me achieve Diamond and some of my goals. And I finally went to her and I just said, you know what, I can't do this anymore. My life is way out of balance. My family's wondering what's happened to me and where I've gone. And I've just got to scale back. And she just said, well, how many hours a day do you think you can spend? And I told her, and I can't even remember what I told her. I think I told her like 2 to 3, which I try really hard to stick to that, but it's really hard for me because I like to work. But she said to me, what she said really surprised me. I thought she was going to be disappointed. And she just said, you know, Heidi, I think you're really smart because it's pretty tough to duplicate you when you're working 7 to 8 hours a day. She says people just don't have that much time to put into this. And it made me really stop and think about it. And it's funny because I kind of just made a little team post and said I was going to cut back and that this is, you know, what my plan was. And immediately one of my best like my coaches my coach that was working really hard, she messaged me. She said, thank heavens. She says, I've been trying to do what you've been doing and it's killing me too. And she says, I need to be able to scale back. And so I just realized, I mean, number one, our example's huge. And what we do is what people think is the process to do. And we do want coaches that work really hard and that are, you know, excited about the business and dare I use the word aggressive with what they want to do. But we don't want, I mean, number one, you don't want to burn people out, but you need to also have balance in that so that you have happy coaches too. And the other thing that I took from this that I really loved was just the importance of showing up. I feel like it's funny. I think there was a call from Kim Carver that was posted on I may have the name wrong, but on the Diamonds group. And it was kind of about how we've pushed and pushed and pushed, and people, when they hit September, just feel kind of burned out. And that's definitely how I was feeling. And even to the point that I could tell I was starting to not show up that last week of September, last week. And so I really love this because it just helps me to refocus and realize that I don't want to get in the situation where I don't show up and then people lose that trust. And so that trust is more important to me than I don't feel like posting today or I don't feel like doing it. And so it helps me just to gain a better perspective and maybe even light a fire a little bit under me again, to where I value that trust more than I value, you know, just having a break from it. So love the group though. It's awesome. And I love seeing all you busy mamas.
Heidi, I really appreciate hearing that from you because in the beginning I was working like crazy. Well, I think I thought I was working like crazy. I was working a ton, but not very productively. But I think this trust, like that we're talking about, it also goes back to our family, because I ended up having to change some of the ways I was doing things because I was checking in my challenge groups at night. I was talking to people about challenge groups and everything, you know. I mean, people are on Facebook at night and that's when they wanted to talk to me. And I was like taking all my time away from my family and my kids. And finally, I ended up having to sit down and go, okay, well, this isn't working. Like, it's not working for my family. It's making my kids hate what I do. It's making my husband resent it. And it just wasn't working for us. And so I ended up changing a lot of how I do it so that it is more how do you say that word, duplicatable for other people, because I have teenagers, and you know, all my kids are in school now, so I have it so I can actually work during the day. I can get my stuff done during the day, and at night it's family time. And I've talked to my coaches, like, this is one of the most important, our family is the most important thing. So if your family time comes before you hitting Success Club, that's what's going to happen. You know, I don't want you stressing out and yelling at your kids on the last couple days of the month because you haven't hit Success Club yet, and you're trying to talk to 100 different people and you're neglecting your kids because of it. That's not okay for my team. That's not what I want. That's not what I want for my team. And so, I mean, it took a while for me to be able to earn the trust of my family back, you know, with, you know, mom's putting her phone down. You guys are home from school. I'm putting my phone down for the night. You know, so every once in a while when I get my phone and it's up to the table and it's dinner time, I have to explain to my kids, I'm just taking a picture of my dinner. That's all I'm doing. You know, like, it stresses them out still just a little bit that mom has her phone up to the table, you know, so that, I think the trust thing is something we have to work on with our families as well as with our teams and our challengers.
For sure.
I totally agree with that. And I came to a point too where I was like, okay, I don't know how to grow my business without working more. And I didn't feel like I was even being very effective with my time. Okay, I actually do know I can be more effective, but I totally knew that I had to go to my leaders on my team and say, we have to work together, because I knew that if I was feeling this overwhelmed, they probably were too. And the last thing I want to do is create a bunch of overwhelmed moms on my team. Like, that's my goal, is to empower us, not to overwhelm us. And so I had to, we did the United Team page, you know, where nobody is the leader per se, but we're each taking different roles, and just like having trust in my team. So one person is going to be stuff for 4 months. That's their only thing. And I'm taking charge of Coach University, and all new coaches will be mine. But now I don't have to worry about other things. And they've proven themselves just as, like, there's nothing about them or about me that I can do it better. So being willing to just step down and be like, I don't need to be the rock star. And by doing that, it's so much easier to recruit people, because I can now, like, honestly say, yes, you can build this business in a couple hours a day, instead of like, yeah, you can, except for that I'm not sleeping and I'm constantly, you know, like, I'm just super stressed. But now I can honestly say that. And it was by me being willing to step down and not have to be the only, like, the one leading the show all the time.
Yeah.
I've had to start really protecting my time lately too, and to 2 times a day with work, and trying to really stick to only responding to messages in those 2 times, because we have to think about what nobody wants to join something and be held up at a desk all day while their kids, you know, eat Cheerios off the floor. Nobody's joining that. I don't want that. Nobody wants that. So we have to protect and like have that vision for what we really do want, and believe that it's actually possible to do that. And so creating that, like, something, I'm somebody, I could wait until like the last minute, and then I'm like, I have my burst of energy and I could get a whole bunch done in the last minute, and not really, I kind of pretend, and then I'm finally like, oh, okay, I'm actually having to do something. Like in the You Are a Badass book, Jen Sincero says, if you're a last minute person, own it, and then just wait until the last minute, but don't pretend the whole time that you're, you know, don't like, but we have to protect that vision as well. And if, and so by knowing that I want to be able to have people, moms like me who are busy, be able to create something in a couple hours a day. I know I have to be able to create something in a couple hours a day. And so I have to use that as my pressure, instead of like, you know, it's now midnight and now I'm finally working. I can use that as my pressure because that is the dream. Like that is the vision, and it's hard work, but I think sometimes it's really just about protecting that. And I've had coaches, like newer coaches on the team, who were intimidated to build because of how on point we all are. Like they have a question and bam, somebody's answering them within a few seconds. And this particular coach was like, I'm a busy nurse. I don't think, like, I'm a mom. I can't do that. And so she was telling herself that she wouldn't be able to be successful. And I had to tell her, you know, creating leaders and empowering other people, it's not about us having all the answers. It's about us like saying, here's where you can find it. And as long as we do that up front, hopefully it's okay that we're not like bam, 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 firing off answers right away, because that is intimidating. You don't have to know everything. In fact, you don't have to know anything. All you have to know is how to ask a question and go and find an answer. That's it. Like, we don't have to know everything. And as long as we remember that, and it was like, I think the first time I saw someone say like, oh, go check the FAQ, I was like, oh, like that didn't feel right to me. Like, why is this person not answering? It didn't feel polite. But actually, it's incredibly polite because we need to empower people, not be that on the spot, you know, Johnny on the spot for everybody. Because then people are like, I can't do that. I can't do that. But I've been stressing myself out trying to, you know. Now it's like protecting my time, protecting my vision, making it happen, you know, as close to that as possible so that really you can say, you know, show people that it's possible in that way. And that's what you can attract, you know. Nobody wants to just sign up and be like working their butt off for 10 hours and stressed out. And this is not the vision.
No, that's not the vision.
Not the vision.
I like that, actually. Yeah, basically, that's almost like being proof. Almost being proof of the product, but being proof of what we can do, what we're telling other people that, hey, you can do this too. So we need to be proof of that. You can build a business, you know, 3 to 4 hours a day from home. So we need to be proof of that. We are building our business 3 to 4 hours a day from home. And we're not neglecting our kids and they're eating Cheerios off the floor. Mine are old enough that they can go to the pantry and get their own food, though. And buckle themselves in the car. All right. You guys, this was really good. I'm glad we're doing this.
Thank you.
All right. Do you guys have anything else? Or are we good?
I think we're good.
Thanks so much, Becky, for leading it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'll see
Thank
you guys
you.
next week.
Thanks, guys.
Okay.